Hello everyone, welcome to the class. This is the preparation class of the International Student Community Engagement. We're going to be talking about the corals for ecotourism's case study in Pahawang Island with me, Novriadi. So in a couple of minutes later, you're going to have a brief understanding about the corals before you join the program and on the 21st of July until the 23rd of August 2025 in the Pahawang Island. Okay, so here we go. Yeah. Okay, the first question is, what is coral? All right, so before I give you the answer for these questions, I need you to look at this picture closely. This is the coral polyps of the Pahawang Island, 2022. And also I put some key points here: animal, photosynthetic algae, calcium carbonate, and ocean forest. Okay. The first thing that you need to know that the corals are not plants. They are animals. They are made of tiny marine animals called polyps. And the polyps live in colonies. 100 or even 1,000 of polyps live together, forming large reef structures. Because they can build the skeletons. They build skeletons, the hard stuff from the limestones called calcium carbonate. And this hard structure becomes the coral reef we see. They have a symbiotic relationship with the microscopic algae called the zooxanthellae. And this algae, because it comes from a plant division, so it can perform the photosynthesis. As the consequences, the algae provide the food and the color to the corals. Okay, so just for your information, the corals actually don't have a color in it. They are transparent, but the zooxanthellae provides color by showing the pigment of the algae. And the corals grow very slowly, about 1 until 10 centimeter per year, but can build massive reefs over centuries. And also the corals support over 25% of all marine life on Earth. So it's a very important, very crucial for the humankind and on the world. All right, so this is the picture of the reef underwater view of Krakatau Island in Krakatoa. And also I put the 3 key points here: 375,000, 1 million, and 500 million. What does the 375,000 mean? 375,000 is the number of the coral cover around the world. 375,000 kilometers around the world. Okay, so it's very large and it's very important. And 1 million, it means that the 1 million, and some people say 9 million, 1 million species live in the coral reef, including fish, mollusks, crustacean, and also many things lives there. And 500 million is the number of the people who rely on these coral reefs around the world. They depend on the coral reef directly, almost directly, and indirectly. So this is the details. Okay, so 375,000 kilometers of a coral reefs cover less than 0.1% of the ocean floor. Yet they are among the most diverse ecosystems on Earth, because 1 million species depend on coral reefs for food, shelter, and life, including fish, as I said before, mollusks, turtles, and countless microorganisms. And 500 million people rely on the reefs for food, jobs, and coastal protections, especially in the tropical coastal communities like Indonesia and most tropical islands, and in Pacific, and many more. But now corals face many threats globally and locally. In the global perspective, coral face the climate change problem. As you know, just 1 degree Celsius, our temperature getting warmer than the pre-industrial levels. And already the increase of 1 degree Celsius, it has made 50% of the corals have disappeared worldwide. So we lost 50% of the coral just because the increasing level of the temperature since the pre-industrial levels. If we do nothing, we could face a future with the zero coral reefs in our oceans. So that means from what I put here as the key points. So the corals face the problems globally with the climate change. Why? Because since the pre-industrial era, we have been facing the increasing temperature 1 degree Celsius, and as the consequences, 50% of the coral reef gone. Okay, if we do not do nothing, if we do nothing, so those coral will be gone. Okay, we will have the zero coral left. So this is the problem of the corals globally, global climate change. Remember this key points, okay? Because maybe it will appear in the questions in the last session. Okay. Next. Also locally, not only globally, but also locally, coral face the problem. This is the pictures of the some points in reef of the Pahawang Island. Okay, you know, this is the degraded reef. In the beginning, the coral is a very beautiful and very complex structure, but now it looks terrible. You know why? Because of many things. Blasting, like using the bomb to catch a fish, and also the tourists who do snorkeling with the fins and they step on the corals, and finally they break the corals and they mess around with the structure here, and finally the coral becomes a rubble. And as usual, I put some points also here. The first point is the 85,263 people came to Pahawang Island in 2022. Okay, it's a large number. Okay, but why? Because Pahawang Island actually has a value about the 6.9 trillion rupiah, according to the research that has been done by Korea 2017. The value of the Pahawang Island tourism is about the 6.9 trillion. This is a fantastic number. Okay, as the consequences, 60% of the coral covers, it's broken. Okay, it becomes a rubble. It becomes a degraded reef because of a massive tourism that has low control of the tourism. So this is the detail of the pictures. Growing hotspot for marine tourism and snorkeling is shown in 2022 by the BPS data. 85,000 people came to Pahawang. It's very reasonable. Why? Because the Pahawang Island has a beautiful nature, and the estimated economic value of the Pahawang is about the 6.95 trillion rupiah, or 460 million US dollar, based on the ecosystem services of the coral reefs, reef tourism garden concept. And also 60% of the coral cover is rubble now, degraded from the past damage, destructive fishing, anchoring from the boat, and tourism. Okay, so what should we do to fix that problem? To fix that problem, we initiate the coral conservation effort in the Pahawang Island. We start to transplant the coral. Okay, we start to transplant the coral by utilizing the fragmentation of the corals. So we cut the coral and then we put the coral in a nursery ground in the, like a rope or a coral tree or table, and until the coral healed. Okay, as you know that when we cut the corals, it means that we give the corals a wound. Okay, so we need to give the opportunity for the corals to heal its wound before we transplant the coral. And the place is the nursery ground. So we cut the coral and we put the coral inside the nursery ground like this, and give the coral opportunity to get better before we transplant them into the transplantation area like this. Okay, so the fragmentation, the healthy coral colonies are fragmented into the small pieces. We call that as the frags. And then we put the fragment into the nursery phase. Okay, and yeah, this allows them to heal and grow safely before being moved. And finally, we transplant the fragment of the corals until the fragment gets mature, and finally it will be transplanted onto degraded reef areas. Attached using the cement, we put them with the cement and tie them with the cable ties, or put them on the natural substrate. You see the pictures here. We do this with the scuba gear. So to perform this kind of the conservation effort, we need the ability of scuba diving, and we need to wear the scuba gear. But the question is how to give the opportunity to people who don't have ability to dive. They don't have ability to control the scuba diving. They don't have a certificate. How could we provide them the opportunity to get involved in our conservation program? So here's the answers. Because the coral restoration used to be only for scuba divers, it's limited to the trained professionals with the diving skills. So now non-divers can help too in Pahawang. How? By utilizing the sea walker. Thanks to the sea walker. In the sea walker, tourists walk on the sea floor using the special helmet, and they can plant the coral directly. Everyone becomes a part of the mission. Tourists adopt the coral, and locals guide the process, help the process, and we build the partnership. This is the complex partnerships between the community, academia, business, government, and the visitors. So we pack them together into the program that is called the Sea Walker. Because we have a tagline, conservation is no longer exclusive, it's inclusive, not only for the divers, but also for the non-divers. Here is the picture of the Sea Walker. So, well, the basic idea is you go down the underwater using the helmet like this, and you get the air supply from the boat, and you can go around, walking around in underwater, and then you can transplant the coral there and adopt the coral. You can put your name there, and the community will help you to maintain the corals and inform you, or even inform you the progress of the coral growth of your adopted coral. Yeah. Also in Pahawang, we have community-based conservations. We train the locals to do the conservation of the ecosystems, and we train them also to do the transplantation in the various way. It's been 2 years now, since 2023, 2024, and now in 2025. We invite you people to come to Pahawang to get involved in our community based conservation program with the local community. Beside that, we also do the community service in Pahawang. We publish our activity there, and in the couple of maybe months later, we will have a marine research center in Pahawang, and we cannot wait until start the program and see you in Pahawang. Thank you.